Thank you for the patience so far. So what are the three W's? Right here. The three W's. Why buy anything? Why buy us? Why buy now? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again just because it's so important. Why buy anything? Why buy us? Why buy now? So I want to give you a little bit of history. This was created by my sales mentor, Steve Browne, aka the godfather of the three W's. And I'll tell you the quick story about Steve Browne. He was an engineer in the 80s, 90s. And what he realized was that the salespeople were making like 5 times more money than he was. And Steve's incredibly smart. He was Mensa. I'm sure you guys all know what Mensa is. It's like a club for geniuses. You have to rank a certain IQ. And he looked at this and just felt it was not fair at all. And so he decided to become a salesperson. He thought, I can do that. And so what he did was he thought, how do I become great at sales? So what he wanted to do is have a front row seat to the world's best salespeople to learn what they did and then backwards engineer it. And so he went to Oracle, and he didn't become a salesperson right away. He became a sales engineer, so he had a front row seat. And he watched and studied all the greatest salespeople. And what he found was the difference between, good salespeople and great salespeople are the great salespeople are the ones that spend all their time on the deals that are actually going to close. And they spend very little, if not no time on the deals that aren't going to close. So once he had this realization, he thought, all right, great. Now I just got to figure out how to spend time on the deals that are going to close. And so he then defined the problem is, okay, if that's what I want, how do I figure out quickly what deals are not going to close and then not spend any time on them? And so then he studied, okay, so what are the reasons why deals don't close? And he studied tons of them. And what he found was, although there was endless stories, endless heartbreaks, endless, sorrow, of all the sad stories of why deals don't close, he was able to figure out 3 buckets. 3 reasons, the true reasons, the first principal reasons why deals don't close. And that if you don't have answers to these 3 reasons, 3 questions, 3 W's, that the more time you spent on the deal, the higher the risk is that you're wasting time. And ultimately, what you're trying to do in sales is not waste time, which coincidentally, not so much coincidentally, is the same thing about startups. You don't want to waste time. You come into a risky situation and you want to spend your time on reducing that risk, right? That's the number one thing that founders do. So, these 3 questions, these 3 buckets. So let's review them real quick. And by the way, there's a great interview of Steve Browne on the Moment Sales website. You can hear Steve Browne talk about the origin story. I really highly recommend reading these 4 blog posts. I think it takes about 25 minutes. It will really give you a concise engineering perspective on the 3 W's. And you can hear it straight from Steve Browne's words. So let's get into it. So the 3 W's. Why buy anything? Why buy us? Why buy now? Okay. So when he looked at all the deals, he would find that some deals, essentially nothing ever changed. They didn't buy. And so a lot of deals, there just wasn't enough suffering for them to go through the change management, to go through the hell of buying anything new, and especially software, and implementing it. And so what he found was you had to have an answer to why buy anything. What's so much suffering that you're in that you'd actually spend time talking to an enterprise sales rep, right? What is the activation energy that is going to make not doing something so painful that you have to do something. Okay? And so that's the why buy anything. And the next one is why buy us. So let's say you have a good answer to why buy anything. Like there's something that's so wrong that they need to change. Not doing anything is not acceptable. But the question is, why buy us? Why not just do it in-house or do it with one of my competitors? Right? What is it about your suffering that you can only go with us? The third bucket is why now? So let's say there's enough suffering, they got to do something. There's a feature or there's just trust that, they have to do it with you. They've tried it in-house, they've tried it with others, it didn't work. Now, the third question is why buy now? So what is so painful that they can't wait? Right? Their strategy would be like, oh, we'll just do this next year. And almost more importantly, why is it not acceptable that the timeline that they give you will slide? Some people say, oh, we need this by, this date because we're rolling out, open enrollment in insurance, right, and healthcare plans. But then that time comes and they're so busy, they're like, you know what, we'll just do this in next enrollment a year from now or whenever it is. That can kill a deal, especially at the end when you've already committed this. So these are the three questions. Why buy anything? Why buy us? Why buy now? Now, a lot of people will get surface level answers to these. And we'll get into that next. How to actually go deeper.